As soon as it's done, okay, it's undergoing. So, good afternoon, everybody, or good evening for some of you. This is, I'm very glad to introduce today the second lecture of our lecture series of Confluence, at Confluence. And today, this is with mentalKLINIK, artist from Turkish artist living in Brussels. And I will explain a little bit how it will be organized today. They will first give a lecture about presenting their work, and we will have and they will have a new after that a little debate with friends, doing 20 minutes, moderated by Gila. Because I have to explain that this lecture is organized by the student council of the school, and at the end we will have Q&A for the audience. So we are now over 40, and we will start the lecture. So I give the stage to Gila to introduce mentalKLINIK.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So as Odi said, mentalKLINIK is an artist duo from Istanbul and based in Brussels. Their studio acts as a laboratory where they collaborate with artists and professionals from various different industries. And through this experimental and multifaceted
Please, excuse me first. To everybody, mute your mic, please, and switch off your video.
And microphone.
Switch off the microphone.
Okay, so
sorry, Gila.
Through their experimental and multifaceted approach to their work, they explore the invisible politics and social dynamics that define our everyday lives. They've been working together like this since '98, and they have participated in numerous international exhibitions as well as solo shows. So thank you, Yasemin and Birol, for joining us today, and I'll let you take over from here.
Thank you, Ella, and thank you for the introduction. We would like to first thank you, of course, Odildek, and for our friendship first.
The students.
First, I'm saying that first the friendship that we have, we are really happy to know her in our life. And of course, to the Confluence Institute students that they really initiate to organize this lecture series, because normally we're supposed to be in Paris to give the workshop, but we couldn't because of the conditions. So I think it's a good start to introduce ourselves to you and to know a bit about you and to meet, I think, further time in physical environment soon. So we are, as introduced, we are an artist duo. We live for a long time together, and also we work for a long time together, and we are together 24 hours. So it defines a lot about our aesthetic, our also life, and how we work. And in mentalKLINIK, we can say mental refers to mind and clinic refers to our practice mostly. And mostly I'm the mental one and Birol is taking the clinic part, but sometimes we really shift some missions while working together, because working together is something else, as we call mentalKLINIK a kind of generic name. We define mentalKLINIK as a third person. It's not Birol, it's not me, it's not feminine, it's not masculine. So it has, it creates its own character in the meantime while we are working together, and we really don't want to categorize it in any categorization, any persona. So I think we always said that it's kind of space, as you can imagine as architects mostly. It's a space we fill in and we sometimes empty out that space. So we have some vocabularies, we continue some vocabularies, but we are so much open to enlarge and broaden our vocabularies. And our body is a bit open, more open to collaborate with people, as we did with here Joël. And many times, because as mentalKLINIK, we opened some titles called semi-mental clinic, documental clinic, which like semi-mental clinic, we did several projects with Joel, Andrea Nomersoa, and also we did documental clinic as we spread our ideas and our point of view on the published documents. So magazines and daily magazine and colophones and this kind of how do you say that? Okay. Then so what we can say, what else we can say about mental clinic? We are so much interested about what's happening now and how now is affecting and how now is enlarging and also how now is narrowing and how the invisible politics are running our daily lives. And these invisible politics also are our hunts that we really want to catch them and we want them to make visible in our works. So we can go through our presentation. We try to keep it short, so we focused on mostly our last two shows and a kind of on now a streaming project, what we are doing during COVID times. So we will start first one work that we find a good start to tell mental clinic and point of view. It's a video work. It's called True Blue. In this video work, we took one scene from a movie and we slowed the movie down and we show it as if you can watch now. It's very slow.
If it can.
Maybe you see maybe slower than us, I don't know. But it's very slow and it's a very close-up shoot. So I can mention a bit about this video. We can go to the other slide. We took the, maybe most of you watched the Truman Show, and it was the movie before the last decade. Actually, it was 2009, I think, or
yeah, no, 1998.
Sorry, 1998. Sorry. So it was before the 2000s, and
we don't see your screen. Excuse me, you didn't share your screen.
Screening? No,
we don't see your screen.
Ah, okay.
You have to share your screen.
Yeah, but I think, sorry.
It doesn't. It's not.
Can you see now?
No.
No.
First starting, it's very good.
Okay. Share screen.
Yeah, no, I saw.
This is the screen. This is okay, it's coming now. Yes, thank you.
Sorry again. Okay. So you didn't see anything up to now?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, sorry to you. So it's you will see the video now. Go for the video. And I can also talk on the video maybe. This work also tells us how our reality is changed, especially with the 2000s. And with the 2000s also our life changed with Web 2.0, and we are more tagged and searched by search engines, and the truth, especially the information bombardment, grows so big. So we become the people who are watching all the televisions and all the social media, and we are trying to keep the truth for ourselves and to find a true thing to believe. But I think we lost it. And in that also movie, if you remember, it was telling about a story, a guy, the protagonist, is living on the television by not knowing it for all his life. And when he realized, he come to the wall, and the wall is the limit of his universe, which is reality for him, but it's a kind of television reality for the other part of the world. So we want to actually, as an artist also, we really ask a lot of questions on reality. So this video gives us that feeling and gives us the a video which feels haptical more than visual also. Then we will go to, can you see? Okay. Catastrophically Gorgeous show that we did in Belgrade in 2018. We can tell a bit also about our oxymorons. We use oxymorons as in the language, but also as in our style. Oxymorons are the terms that they exclude each other. So why we use them? Because we think that also the language is so much grasped in the social media, so we cannot tell what we feel easily. We use emojis, we try to use other, we try to create new languages, and especially new generation create new meanings with the words, and they play with the words. So oxymorons gives us the feeling of telling something in a different way and in a strong way, by not telling each word, the meanings of each word, but creating a third meaning again. So it's also mentalKLINIK. Catastrophically Gorgeous exhibition starts with first the drink, the champagne with the pop rocks, which in mentalKLINIK's exhibitions, mostly we have 5 senses, and we really try to make more senses sensible, stimulus. You can pass, maybe it's too noisy. So when you have the champagne, and if you drink it with the bubbling champagne, with the bubbling pop rocks, maybe the sugars that blast in your mouth, gives the feeling of, it reminds you the feeling of poisoning your body, and you remember your body, because actually all this information flow keeps us a bit away from our body. Body becomes a big problem in our daily life, actually. And we can see also recently. So our shows, if we do solo shows, big solo shows, we always have an entrance piece, or we close the entrance, or we try to make people to feel that they are in a wrong place. So this one started with a big high-rise, but it's in the scale of human, not in a highway. So you feel the size of it is so big than how you normally see. So it's here it becomes a sculpture, and it's kind of light sculpture that blinds you before you get in, because the especially our eyes are so much annoyed with the image, so all the time. And when you get in, do you want to play? Yeah. The main idea of the show, first we want to place human in the center, but to think about the human body, as we said, in danger, under violence. So we thought that normally for the blinds, they use the pawing studs on the floor. In Europe, you have more than what we had in Istanbul before, but in Europe, you can see it everywhere to remind people, and if they don't see, that they are close to danger. And now, I think we are always and already everywhere, we are in danger, because we are just looking to our screens while walking on the way. So this, we cover all the floor with an arbitrarily pattern, that when you walk, you always feel your erotic body in the space, while you are also checking our artworks. And so the space of the exhibition becomes also the triggering element of the artwork. And then as you go into the show, you have the sound piece, as you heard before, we call Wow Fucking Awesome, which we did for our Fucking Awesome show. And that also is combined with many different dialects of English that's spreading the oxymoron words to the space, to the exhibition. So I think we forecast a crisis. Of course, we were always in crisis in capitalism, but the crisis mostly works for the system, and as it is now, I guess. And we use gazing balls to write crisis, which is also coming from 17th century from Venice. They were using it just to decorating their gardens, but also watching who is coming and if the gardener is working. So it's a surveillance element in a very primitive way, we can say. But they are also so striking that we are so much take attraction. We like to take attraction with our works, like how we buy, products. If we see an iPad, it's shiny. If we are looking at the screens, everything is shiny. So we really want to catch this feeling that you can't miss our work. And our work gives you the feeling of like a newly opened package. So we keep that aesthetic, and with these candy colors, which is more and more dominant, I think, in our new life in 21st century, we have more these colors, more materials in these colors. So we follow the new also materials, how they are growing up, how the colors are changing. So our colors also follow the industry, or sometimes really catching a bit early and working with the industry to create our own materials. So, and Bitter Sweat, we did this video, actually we showed this video first in Satisfaction Guaranteed exhibition, 83% Satisfaction Guaranteed exhibition. It was in Porto Cervo in Louis Alexander Gallery. So the work shows us a woman who is walking only 2 steps actually, and she's trying to reach somewhere. So we call it bitter sweat because it's a kind of, today we are all following desires that we never get satisfied. But desires are all calling, and we are jumping all desires. And in this crystallized promotion, promotional world, everybody wants to be the best. Everybody wants to be the one who is looking good, and they want their bodies super healthy. So I think this element of doing sports and also showing off and catching the next event is our main occupation. So we are all occupied for entertainment. Even the art is, I think, kind of taking place, the category under the entertainment. So entertainment, I think the main element, especially on the 21st century, of all social media, physical world, but mostly the virtual world, are calling us just to be entertained. And we need to learn also as students to be entertained. So everybody is asking to be entertained. And we are entertaining by torturing, because we use this torturing a lot with the sound, with what we are mentioning are not actually so funny stories, but they are told in an ironic way mostly. That's why we have the ejaculations, sparkling, and moe. It's our work that visits most of our shows, because we keep this sculpture in different forms most of in our shows, because we always want to give the idea of that there was an entertainment here and it's finished, or it might begin again. So you feel always if I miss it or if I can catch it, and who was these giants who was making this party, because the moes are, the museles of Champagne are so big than it should be. And then we add this work because we did it in Joel Adriano Mersois exhibition Almost Home in Paris last year, I guess. And we call it Lou, like love, but in a very casual way, Lou. And we find this also sparkling work. It's very simple, it's a performative work. And we put 2 of these like 50 centimeter sparkling sticks, and we burn them. And when we burn them, it has the glittering effect. It but it stinks like burned something, and it's weird actually to have the feeling of the smell, the fragrance. But also when they burn together, they take different shapes. It's like real love, like it's coming at a sudden point and it brights and then it goes down. Because I think the love has really, you can love everything, but it has a period of, how do you say, the firing part. So then we can go to other show, which is called Obnoxiously Happy, that we realized in Belgium, Brussels, 2 years ago, and it was curated by Jerome Sanz, and it was in La Patinoire Royale. And it's a very interesting old building, which was before it was a ski piste. I think the Royal
Pattern.
Yeah. And then we took, actually Jerome created this show as the second introspective that we did together. The first one was in 2011 in Istanbul. It was called That's Fucking Awesome. And this is the second one. So again, we started with some works that we already had in the other show, but we add very new works into that show again. Obnoxiously Happy, again an oxymoron, also reminds us that we are too positive. We have to be too positive in this century. We are not asked to be sad, because if we are sad, nobody will be around us. So we have to be so bright. We have to be so healthy, as I said before. So I think this show shows more about this feeling, like how we are happy and are we really happy. So here you will see Puff Out, and we will see several times in our presentation Puff Out, because it's very recently we are working on this project again. Puff Out is combined with robots, the hoovers, and with the glitters. So the glitters are sucked by the robots, and they don't collect them, and they just throw them away. So the painting realized by the robots autonomously, and this work kind of has no meaning than sparkling some glitter around, and especially it creates a lot of humors and rumors in the city, because it goes everywhere in the city, all the glitter to all galleries in Brussels. So it created a lot of, not problem, but a funny problem around the exhibition. So I think I want to talk a bit about VIF first. So sorry, the video that you showed, because I'm a bit late.
But it's the time is passing. It's I didn't calculate.
Okay.
That's why I'm sorry.
Okay. So the video VIF, this video is a real shot, but I want to talk about it because it shows our aesthetic, how we are trying to create an aesthetic as a bridge generation from physical world, between physical world and the virtual world. Because this video looks like a 3D generated video, but it's a real shot with a high-speed camera, which they use normally for ballistic reports, and also especially for the advertising. And when you shoot with this camera, you can shoot like this video. I think we shoot 4 seconds or something, and you can watch it in 3 minutes. So it's really enlarging the time that we like to do, because now, not today, of course, because of COVID, we have maybe more time in a way, but we were running like accelerated by the capitalism, by the system. So I think this video asks you to calm down, to sit and to watch and to follow every piece in the video. And it's a real shining under the sun normally, but you can think that it's generated by the computer. And then also this video gives us more feeling than it is normally. So it means that we can manipulate everyone. If you are watching an advertising shot with this camera, if it's longer than allowed, you really run to go to buy the chocolate. So it's also a very dangerous element of technology. So we can continue to see the show, to gaze. And in this show, we settled in the space. We don't want to build new walls, but we created pavilions as in a fun house. And in some of the pavilions, we show different works, but the rest of the works are spread in the building in with no hierarchy. And you see some works are like serious, like crisis. Now you have the CU, more about surveillance, and mostly how the audience reflect to our work. It has two I think attitudes mostly. Some of them are really having so much fun, even they forget that they are in an exhibition, and they forget about art, and they start to touch our work and to really connect with it. But it's not what we ask, but I think all the works are calling, because they have this attraction of color, attraction of material, and some of them if they open the curtain, they can see what is behind it, what kind of technology is behind this kind of artworks. And then if they start to think about how we are datafied, how our body is already almost cyberpunked. So there are so many things to think about, to be aware, and more than identity politics, which is so popular in art, I think. And yeah, we can continue a bit to profiles maybe. So this profile series that we did also started in 2015. And I think, thank you for your cooperation exhibition. We created social media characters, how they describe them, and we used the vocabulary, how they used to describe themselves. But they look like advertising panels. And normally also everybody started to be their promoter by themselves. So self-monitoring, self-promotion. And I think we are, as human, we become super egoistic and super promoters of ourselves. And we are only interested in ourselves. So in this text, we use as I said, the social media language a lot, some slang, and the new vocabulary, and how people describe themselves for a while only, because, you know, somebody can be really like no religion, and the next day it can be Christian. You know, people are changing so quickly recently, even their personas. There's not a, before you have to build your persona, and your identity is so powerful, so strong as our furnitures at home, like how the furniture settled in the 19th century, how, you know, our furnitures even become more modular, then also our characters, our bodies are more modular. So we can change some modules, we can change ideas so quickly, but even we can go so contrast ideas immediately. And somebody can be openly gay, but fascist and dogmatic at the same time. So we find it very strange, very dangerous, and also all this, I think, if we think that we are all surveilled, and also not visually, also as a data, and we are the producers of the system, and we give a lot of data. We always produce content, so we are precarious at all. All of us working for the system, and also we pay for this system so much. You can continue. And these works also started in 2015. It started with, are you happy enough? And are you fit enough? With it, are you liked enough? These are the neon text works that we write on each other. Birol and I write different handwritings, and we write the same sentence, and then we put them on each other's. But we don't even remember which handwriting is from me, but from him, we don't even remember. But in these questions, even without a question mark, we are asking, what is enough? What is your desire? Are you satisfied enough? If you are not happy enough, if you are not positive enough, I think you don't have any place in the system. And if the system started as China, giving points to the public, then we are really like products. We are the wanted person or not wanted person. So if we are not so online, maybe we might be the dangerous people in the world. And from here to one of the pavilion that we did the Wu, the robotics, we have in our work a lot the robotics. When we feel the robotics can be more emotional sometimes than human beings, and we do the robots and we kind of animalize them, we give them names, and we really keep them like our pets at home, but we give them agency actually in our artwork, the robots. And we give them like to be in love, like wooing here, like flirting with each other. They have a choreography, but they are the ones that we look for their actions. They are not giving us their light for entertaining us, but we are watching them. We are watching their performance here. As a pigeon also, like a pigeon. So in the pavilions, we have the most dark work, which is called dark matters. But it's made of glitters, thousands, millions of glitters in black color with the resin, so that we create a kind of earthy structure, which is not existing in the earth. But also we can think that while we are thinking about global warming, it's not only the green, but we are also made of dark matter in the world. And in the beginning, I was mentioning about the five senses here in this show, but also before from the first show, we always have scans in the show, taste, structures, softness, hardness. We have this, touching haptical elements. So in this show, we bring fresh cuts to the show, which is the most fresh part of this show, we can say. We call Viciously Vivacious, and we have tweeters from 2009 show from Rabbit Hole that we call them Twitter because it was also the beginning of Twitter, and it was always alerting us, alerting with the new information. And our tweeters also have a vibration machine in it, and they are walking in the space, and they are normally trampling the floor. So when you get in the room, when they work, they also give you the vibrance.
Time is passing.
Yeah, time is passing. We have to go quick, but this is perfect lovers. Go, not the video maybe. And you can hear the sound also with this work, maybe this one, Disastrously Brilliant. It's called FOMO, also fear of missing out, that we have through our all gadgets, that we can say that we move to also Web 3.0, where we are addressed with the gadgets, and the gadgets are listening us, gadgets are collecting all information from us, and FOMO is combined with all this alert sound with a very cute names. You can find it on the internet, very cute or sometimes, thrilling names. And FOMO is combined of these alert sounds. When you are at the exhibition, you always check your phone because it's alerting you also, and it creates anxiety, which is also a big part of our aesthetic, actually built on these anxieties. And we create sometimes series starting from 2016. Yeah, 16. We hijack the covers of Time magazines with very childish stickers. That it was about the Truish show. When we started it, we were doing the Truish show. And then the Oxford, I think, explained that the word of the year is the post-truth, where we lost the truth. We already lost it, but we give a name that time, but we call it Truish because you never know where the manipulation is starting when it ends. And Time magazine is the big manipulator, as America is the big manipulator of the world. So we started to hijack these covers with really, like, without trust, make them super childish, and the subjects in a very suspicious way. We start to apply stickers on them. So you can see all the, you know, issues, what happened. Trump came, and now we see the results. And nothing to see here because he's not a real president. It's all truish, and hate in America grown afterwards, more and more. And Putin and all, you know, all these politicians, but also the subjects related to the world on time. And Macron, Merkel, all we play with the elements of also the characteristic of the covers here. And when the Pope goes to America, and when we talk about melting the ice and the security, they are all times issues, but they are behind it, and they create also this world, this catastrophic work for us. And Airless series, we also did it in 2015. It's all about also the first Chinese production, how the world sent all their unnecessary, unprofitable production to China, like that we cannot find the masks today because of that. So they produce this kind of plastics everywhere, and they sell to the world. So plastic is all around the world, but also it's not about we are against the plastic, but the plastics, they are so much cheap and mass produced. But when you buy them, when they come together, they really have a kind of unique value, because when they are packed, as you can see on the package here, when you open them, they all look different. Then we decided to take the mold of them and create them in a very different technique, which is from copper, and it grows on the mold. So what you see on the, according to me, on my left, it's the plastic one, and the right one is a complete replica of in the copper and painted with the automotive paint. So we create this aesthetic as unique pieces also. Like here, the right one is how it looks when it gets a metal and then it's painted.
On the left side.
Yeah. And these are mostly produced with the child works, and then they are selling for children to be happy also. So it's an oxymoron in the world, I think, where we are living now, the era especially. And we have a big collection of that we produce some of them we really keep them as a collection. They are really cute, zany at the same time. Okay, we go for the puff. I mentioned puff a bit, so we just can show you the videos, and then we can go to discussion part, I guess. The first one, the puff we did in 2009 in Art Basel Unlimited. We showed this piece, and it has an ejaculation system of spreading this rainbow glitter all around, and on the platform, 8 robots were working and collecting that dust, the glitter dust, and they were creating the pattern on the platform. But I think 6 years later, we decided to go back to this work again and to use it in different way, where we did in Isabel van den Eynd Gallery in Dubai. And we throw all the glitter on the floor, and we took out the dust beams, and we just let them just spread glitter from one part to the other part to create their own pattern as an autonomous painting, and to leave them also audience just go around them and play around together. But they don't need any participation, because our works, even they look super participatory, but they are not at all. So we showed it in Obnoxiously Happy again. And now we are doing another project with this autonomous robots. So maybe we can start to speak, and we can also talk with Joel about this project as he knows, and we can start to get the discussion part.
If we are right. Is it 20 minutes or do we have to continue?
No, I think we can do the discussion now. Thank you.
Sorry, I was running.
Yes, you were.
Okay.
So short.
I'm just gonna quickly go over the 5 points that we.
Pardon. Your sound is coming down.
Sorry.
There is an echo. A lot of echo. We cannot hear you very well.
I don't really know. Is this better? No.
Lila, maybe you have to switch off your telephone.
Mon téléphone.
Maybe.
Pardon?
Is this okay?
Yeah. Okay, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better.
Okay. So just quickly, the 5 points to sort of frame the discussion. The first was, how has your practice evolved considering the current situation, and what do you think the lasting impact will be on your work? The second is, so the way we interact with each other has obviously been very impacted. How do you think that this will evolve in the future, and what do you think its larger impact will be? We're also dealing with a compromise between freedom and safety. How do you think we should engage with this debate as artists and designers? The fourth is, so sanitation has obviously become a central point for in design, and what growing concerns do you see coming in the future? And then finally, if you could just discuss a little bit about your approach to your creative process in general. And I'll let you just take it away.
Okay, thank you. And maybe we can start first how Joel reacted first, because he was the first one and very early one who reacted this process, you know, when we get confined and when we are at home and we need to produce at home. And then Joel did a very nice project with Rani at source. Probably not. I'm so sorry. And he did a very nice project. So Joel, start and then.
Hello, everybody. I didn't hear the end of your intervention, Yasemin. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you, Adil, and thank you to all the students also. It's always interesting, actually, like with you, Yasemin and Birol, when we are doing something, because I think we are like, when I'm doing something, I'm inviting you and you are inviting me. Like, I think it's interesting that we are sharing this kind of, I don't know, ideas maybe. I just want to say, before maybe jumping on this project, that I think, and I asked a question, I think you didn't insist a lot on the idea of like the duality. And I think this is very powerful on your work. You're talking about, you know, the idea of a duo, but it was very interesting when you start with the idea of like the third person. And I think it's very interesting. I think it will be nice if you can insist about this. And maybe if I have to say something about your work, you are working, you know, about the reality as a fiction. And I think it's very important. You are like mentioning different mediums coming, you know, from Venice, coming from Istanbul, from the daily life. And even, you know, like the inspiration is also very interesting all the time, because things are starting from food. For example, we have discussion about food and everything. We are starting from architecture. I don't know, but the work looks very, how can I say that? Very radical, but at a certain point, it's very open and it's very generous. I really love the idea when you say that it looks like very playful, but actually you can touch. I don't know exactly, but I want to start, I think, you know, reaction from this product that you are, the Bitter Medicine product. I think the main thing for this product is the idea of generosity. How can you be like generous like right now? And I think it was the discussion that we had, that from a bittersweet, from a dramatic moment, from nothing, how can you recreate something? And it's not just like being active, not just like being, you know, being an artist and we have to build new things, we have to be creative. It's not just about that. I think the product is very interesting because it's a real question about the institution, the museum, for example, that what is the museum right now? The walls, the audience, even, you know, the status of the museum. And because the piece is there in Belgrade, but actually you are sharing it with everybody, and then you can make the idea of the donation is very interesting. Sorry, Yasemin.
No,
Maybe
sorry. We didn't mention about the work. Maybe who listens us can be lost. That's why I asked Birol. Maybe he can show
the real one.
Yeah, no, the real also. Maybe we can open the real one.
The first one is.
May I just mention?
Maybe you can make an introduction, Yasemin. Yeah, make an introduction about the work.
Thank you for joining us. We are super happy to see you. So the work is now online, and the robots are there creating their own painting autonomously. And actually, we donate this work to Belgrade Contemporary Art Museum, but with an idea of bitter medicine, because we think that the art system has so much trouble. We say black swan is in the art market and art world. So the market is so dominating the art world. So artists are so much dominated by the system. And also they were kind of figurants, but now recently during this COVID, they become like the protagonists for a while. They were so much invited to be visible on the page of web page of the galleries, and they are. I think we should fix that system in a different way, and we shouldn't think that artists are always the most vulnerable one. That's why we really take the courage of donating an artwork to a museum and ask the museum to ask other museums to connect, because between museums also the connection is so corporate and not so easy. And in these times, I think we should be practical. We should unlock the doors if we are locked, but we can unlock the doors. And unlock the doors also, domination by the museum to the artist also is too strong. So we are the one, normally you can, as an artist, you cannot go and ask to do a show in a museum, but why not? So I think it's questioning that. And in the meantime, the pattern and the painting is just changing, and it's a very ephemeral work. And I think it's very kind of nihilistic work, but it's, as Joel described, we always put some shine on dramas.
I didn't say it yet, but I was about to say it. But yes, you are putting some sparkling drama. You are putting some dramatic joy. You are using you are doing a bitter fantasy. I don't know, but it's but I think it's the main thing on your work, and I think this one is really it can define, I think, all of your everything that you said before. For me, and then the real question is like, okay, you did this piece, so what will be the future? But and the future, and especially the future of the museum, do we still need a museum? I don't know. It's a kind of a big question, but the real question is like, do we need a museum? I don't know if the museum has to be like very powerful. It's a real question. Well, it's very new, so I think it's also interesting if the people can react later, you know, on the aesthetic of the work, on the political aspect of the work also. It's a real statement, so I think it's also interesting maybe to get, you know, some reaction from different people. Yeah,
it will be good. Yeah, because, you know, we are thinking that through this work, actually, we are more, we should talk about as bitter medicine, we said. It's a kind of intervention, it's an action, it's an event. So it should, you know, it's kind of challenge on the social media that I challenge you. Do you want to take this bitter medicine? And if you take it, you show it. And then you can you can share it from your webpage, from a museum webpage. But why it shouldn't be in all museums now? It can be not only the work itself, but that questions can rise around it, and it can create a kind of okay, sorry, I forget about public sphere. Sorry, public sphere. it's very important to create a public sphere around this work also.
Okay, well, I don't know if I have to say something else. Maybe we can open the discussion to everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think they asked the question about sanitary and the giving our data.
Can Gila give you the question of the audience, please?
Yeah, I mean, do you have any more to say around the discussion topics, or do you want to move to the questions from the audience?
No, actually just about, you know, the safety and health, between safety and health. I think we should find a third way of keeping people safe in our world without sharing all our private data, private lives. So I think we should, and you should also think about in that kind of issues, not thinking about only two contrary ways, but maybe a third way is always better than these two. Mm. We are so much stuck in this, you know, dialectic and, you know, thinking like two ways. You are black or white, you are this or that. So I think we should find, as we are trying to, is the third way. So we need more disciplines come together, but in a not a, like, you know, we say shikimiki way, like transdisciplinary. We did so much these kind of things, but we don't want to name it. But all disciplines can really work together to create different ideas, which is more feasible what we have now as a system also. So we can go for the questions.
Okay, thank you. So we have a question from Sabrina Amrani. She's asking, what is your relation to space? Can you talk about the distortion of the vision in your work?
Again, you have an
Oh my.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat again?
Yeah, is this better?
Yes.
Okay. It's from Sabrina Amrani. She's asking, what is your relation to space? Can you talk about the distortion of the vision in your work?
Distortion and the vision. Okay. Space means not the space, but the space, the architectural space.
Yes.
Okay. We can have both. No, actually, the space for us is a kind of empty box mostly. We try to close every part of the space to the outdoor. It's a microclimate for us. Whenever we do shows, we really want to create a microclimate where we don't have any effect from outdoor. Because we think that the reality of art is a kind of absent reality from the real life. It should be. So when you get in our absent reality and microclimate, you experience everything as a kind of laboratory also. We take it as it is. And the second question was about vision and distortion. Yeah, we have a lot of works around that, and we are thinking that what we see is not what we see, and what we see is not what it is. Even our work sometimes looks very simple, very minimalistic in aesthetically, but we all mentioned about the layers behind all technologies and all materials. We use a lot of solar films, for example, which are reflective, which has transparencies in different levels. But these films are produced for security, especially the security of the bullets and many. And for the sun and for the sun, the effects of the sun, but mostly for the surveillance and invisibility from outdoors. And we use very different layers of these materials to create a kind of third aesthetic, third color, which when you combine them, they create different aesthetics together, but also different. So it has a lot of, it creates distortion, it creates double coloring, and it destroys, when you look at it, you see yourself but as distorted, or you see yourself fragmented also, and the space at the same time.
Yasemin, if I can say something about the idea of the space, if we have to define your work and you have to define you. it's a kind of a joke that we are having all together with Yasemin and Birol, but I think it's also very interesting. I think the real space for you, the beginning of everything, is the space between Yasemin and Birol, between these two persons. And it's why I'm saying this joke, because you are always joking about this idea of being mental and being clinic. So I think even the name, even this brand, this artist's name, I think the main thing is between this being mental and being clinic. So who is mental, who is clinic? So I think the main space, the conceptual space, maybe is there first, and maybe it's the white box. This is the point, I think.
Yeah, I think you tell better than me.
No, I was just pointing this.
No, it's so good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question from Maximilien Rousset, who is asking, he says he doesn't get the idea of slowing down the videos, like the sort of confetti. You're talking of a calming video, but everybody today would be stressed and would expect something coming up.
He's asking about why we slow it down, or you know, actually the camera, technology of the camera is shooting high speed, we call it. So the camera is shooting high speed in 3 seconds. Normally 1 second in a normal camera shot is 24 frames. But this has 3,500 frames, for example. And then what you shoot in 4 minutes, you watch it, you enlarge the
4 seconds. 4 seconds.
4 seconds in 3 minutes. So there is another reality there that you don't see by your eyes in the beginning. Without a camera, you cannot see that reality. You cannot see that space in between. With that camera, you get into the time also. So it's kind of time and space in the movie, but also use it to really affect the erotic body, as I told before, because that camera, if you watch it, of course, in a big size, it's more than visual, it's more haptical because of the technology of this enlargement of the time. And
that's why
Thank you. Okay, one more question from Charles. He's asking, your work has a very present identity. Is the way it comes across to the public something well thought and intentional, or is it just...
echo is always coming and I cannot hear it.
It's vibrating.
Is this better?
No.
Maybe. No.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, now?
Now it's better.
Okay. So, from Charles, your work has a very present identity. Is the way it comes across to the public something well thought and intentional, or is it just intuitive and very personal to your duo?
I couldn't get so well, maybe. Can you repeat a bit? Yeah.
Okay. Your work has a very present identity.
Present identity, okay.
Is the way it comes across to the public something well thought out and intentional, or is it just intuitive and very personal to your duo?
Okay. Yeah. It's present means like a bold and to show off, or I don't understand maybe that one, but or now, in that which meaning? It's too much now because we really work on now and we really follow new technologies, new materials, as I told, and also the new attitudes, new relationships, how the new generation is growing without learning any word from the first word from the mother, but from the computer. So we need to know this generation also as an artist and to understand what's happening now, because now is more dangerous than history and more dangerous than future, because we feel that we always declare that future is embedded in today, because the future technologies are already in our life, and we are heading to that future, which is actually predictable now for a long time. So I think it's present in that sense, and its presence is more there and visible and attractive because as we said, we really want to be visible, because we are really kind of compete with all the world, with all images. So we should be visible to discuss or to show what we think, and to be visible is very important within this, you know, where you can be lost in this century also. If you are not visible, you are not there. So I think in both sense we are present. If I understand rightly, I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. That's it for the questions. I don't know if Joël, you have anything to add?
Well, maybe I can add something about this present identity. I think your work, Yasemin and Birol, doesn't have, they are not only inspired by the present. I think you are really open, you know, to every period. But you didn't, for example, you didn't show this work. I think you did it like maybe 15 years ago. This, I think it was a chair, like kind of a French, from a cafe, French, that you cut, and then you made a lot of distortion with it. Like the last piece, for example, when I invite you in Madagascar, I think it's a very traditional thing. It's not complicated. It's really coming from every day. And for example, when you mentioned this glass, I don't know exactly, bubbles or something, they're like coming from Venice. I think they're like they are very old. And for example, when we experiment together, you know, some project made with food, and especially like Birol is bringing some very old Turkish recipes. So I think there is no present, there is no future, there is no past. I think you are just like open to everything. And again, I'm insisting with this idea of duality, because I think the combination is not just like the present and the past, the present and the future and something. Maybe you are trying to create a new temporality also. This is something quite interesting. So yeah, I think maybe one day you will put on the table, you know, this idea of the food. Of course, you know, you did some dinners and everything, but I think this is very clear when Birol is like coming up with this Turkish, very old, coming from your family. Even that, I think it's very important. It's not just a book. And I think at the same time, there is a lot of identity. There is a different temporality. There is also a different geographies. I think it's very important to talk about this. We are talking about Istanbul, but you know, now you are in Brussels. But actually you can go, it's very, I really love it, because for example, you made this complicated piece in Madagascar, but at the same time, you can work in Belgrade. You can be in a museum, and you can also be outside. So I think there is no, I don't want to say that there is no proper definition. I think you know what you do, you know exactly where you want to go. But I think all this kind of, random thing, these unexpected moments are also very important for you. The uncertainty, if I can say something.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, as you always say, the duality, yes, duality, of course, it's very fact. We are working together, but also we are super different than each other. So I think it creates all this, you know, kind of, we can say, the mad aesthetic sometimes, and the madness of our work sometimes comes from there also. And as you said about identity, we are really, maybe we are pissed off about identity from our country, where we are coming from. That's why we always want to clean this part in our artworks, and we want to be really, we don't want to belong anywhere. That's why we are making so much in now, as you know, your friend asked, because we want to be in present. We don't want to be judged with our history, or we don't want to be asked as, you know, like today, you know, this refugee problems, the economic problems, you know, everything, they're out of us. We don't want to be in that shit. The world is, you know, that kind of issues. It's really in a very bad position. Europe is keeping people in the camps, you know, it's so bad now. So we don't want to be stuck in that issues, because they are super annoying, and something else is happening just on the corner, as we see now with the COVID. It's coming really so essential that our lives, we are losing our body. It's finishing. I think we are the last ones, like biological bodies.
No, but it's but you know, like maybe I will answer to Charles. Like, I think, you know, and also as an artist, and I'm sure Yasemin and Birol, we are sharing the same idea. I think, sincerely, I think there is no more geographies, there is no more identities, there is no more, you know, there is no more perfection. Even, you know, maybe it's too much to say that, but there is no more perfection, because perfection is made with black and white, you know, good and bad, joy and pain. This is the minimum for the construction. So I think we have to find a twist. We have to find a different layers. You have to find something behind or under, you know, the earth. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even you know, we are of course following a lot about what happens in queer theory and many things, you know, but even then, when they become groups, it's very conservative.
It's very dangerous when they become groups.
Very dangerous, very conservative. So we believe that we shouldn't be groups. We should be individuals, but very well connected individuals. Not and like a very well not conjunctions and engagements. Not like a connection like in the, you know, social media way. So I think we need more this kind of elements in our life, and maybe only, of course, COVID-19 is a bad period for many people, but only the thing, some people had time to think maybe, which we need now, and to be more deep, not on the surface, because everything is more and more surface now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can put a lot of things under the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question to you? From Odile. I think that you were talking about identity and you don't want to be defined as an identity. But the question that the students sent to you were mostly talking about the situation of today with the lockdown and the confinement. And my question is about what not having an identity, but at the same time having frontier re-established. We are all enclosed, we are all confined, and at the same time we want to escape. And you are doing an online exhibition. That means it's a way of doing something and overpassing the frontier. But also we are discussing with Zoom, and so the notion of space is quite different today because of the situation, and because you are. I have to tell you that a very complex identity, both of you, because you're individual, but at the same time you are a couple, and your combination is particular. So I think that this question of identity is quite important. It's not a question of political identity. It's a question of how to manage that in the situation of today, and what it will be, how it will be in the future, when once maybe we could overpass again the frontier.
Yeah. Actually, I can say that to have an identity, first we need a freedom. To create the individuality, we need freedom. So for the freedom, first we need to really follow the between the lines and behind the surfaces, and then I think we can really go deeper on the subjects, not only reading, the very short text. And we should go, sometimes it's maybe classical that I say, because we are not that much classical, but not nostalgic, but I really appreciate to take some time on thinking, take some time on reading, watching, but in a deeper mood, deeper way. And I think we should follow the kind of general intellect that now the theorists are all talking around. That general intellect is very important to keep world sane, not in the meaning of the conservative, but sane. And then you can be always yourself. You can create your position, like we did now. It was looking impossible project, but in between also, it's, as I told you, that we work interdisciplinary. How we met Carl was very strange, and how during Corona we connect to each other, and then how we started this project was very interesting, because we were also, like Joel said, we were not in need of doing anything. Actually, we were really talking a lot about, we don't have to produce anything, but we have to think. And in the beginning, we always started with reading, having our time, but then suddenly this project appeared, and then we find it very important, not only for us, but for all of us, I think. So I think every condition can create its own aesthetic, own events, own attitudes, like art povera sometimes we can think about. You don't need money to do art, but you need a good intention, I guess. I don't know if it's an answer of...
It's not question again. So can I reopen now? I propose to reopen the mic of everybody to give the possibility for somebody to ask questions directly or not. If okay. So mics are reopened. If somebody wants to comment or ask a question directly, now it's possible. This is always more complicated than to write something on the text. Okay. No more questions? So maybe we have to thank you. And I love this idea of having an exhibition outside your place and to have that online directly. So, Jill, we don't hear you. We don't hear.
You don't hear us?
Okay. So I think that we have to close the discussion now. Thank you very much. It was very nice to hear you and to look at your work like that. And thank you for Joel to do a discussion with you, to have done a discussion. Thank you to Gila and Charles to have organizing the event. And I want to tell you that we will have, so it was the second lecture that the Students' Council organized. And the next one will be in 10 days. It will be the May 19th, and it will be Doriana and Massimiliano Fuxas for the first time together giving a lecture.
Yeah, you will inform us also. We would like to also thank you for everything, and Joel, I like your ideas on our work. I want to hear more also.
It's bizarre. This lecture are bizarre, I know, sometimes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye to everybody.
Bye.